episode 109 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. I am Bill Pivots. So this week's episode was highlighted by the return of Drew McIntyre and the farewell to Shinsuke Nakamura. So a bit of a changing of the tide here in NXT. The show did have a new opening video and theme song, which signifies it's definitely a new time and a new generation for NXT. I hated the theme song. It's some weird rap rock. I don't even know who the artist is. Didn't really care for it. Show kicked off with Aleister Black defeating Corey Hollis. Black stayed calm as Hollis bounced around, getting ready. Hollis ran at him, and Black connected with his Black Mass spin kick to get the win. Very impressive, even though it was a minute, not even. But obviously, like most NXT stars, Aleister Black's going to win some squash matches and just to show off what he's got, build his reputation. But I like the way that this one was done. It plays into Aleister's gimmick. He was calm, very poised, didn't make any unnecessary moves, and the one kick, that was it. That's all he needed. We saw Dillinger's debut on SmackDown. He was then interviewed backstage. He said that even though he's on the main roster, he still has some unfinished business in NXT. He went to William Regal, and he will face Eric Young next week in a steel cage match. Second match was DIY versus Dylan Miley and Michael Blaze. Miley, the bigger of the two, overpowered both Ciampa and Gargano, which was pretty impressive. He was tossing him around a little bit. And Percy Watson made some poor joke saying Michael was related to Aleister Blaze somehow. Gargano dodged an attack, and DIY hit their corner spot on Blaze. Ciampa took out Miley off the apron before DIY hit their combo running knee kick in the middle of the ring to get the win. After the match, Miley destroyed his partner and walked away. Short match, but it was there to build DIY back up after losing at TakeOver. They sold a lot for the big guy, but then they took advantage and took out Blaze, who is the smaller of the two. With the tag team division as shallow as it is, they need DIY to stay hot to compete with Authors of Pain and wait until TM61 return, or whenever Heavy Machinery is ready. But I think Miley is going to be a bigger part of NXT considering how much airtime he got, and he was dominating the tag team champions for most of it. So we'll be seeing him in a few. Maybe we'll get him and Blaze in a squash match in the upcoming weeks. We got a video of the ring crew taking apart the NXT TakeOver arena as Ember Moon walked out, and she had a voiceover playing. She said it was her destiny to win the NXT Women's title, and she will get hers. So it's clear that the Asuka Ember Moon feud is not done, but I'm not complaining with that. I would love to see these two go at it for the next year. Third match, Ruby Riot versus Kimberly Frankel, or Frankule, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. Ruby's got an interesting gimmick here. She's got half her head shaved, all these tattoos. I think she has her septum pierced too. But it's a pretty cool look. Ruby landed a Hurricanrana from the corner, and Nikki Cross appeared from the crowd. She was slamming the railing at ringside. Frankule took control for a little bit after the distraction. Ruby made her comeback and finished with a wind-up Pele kick. Decent match. I heard good things about Ruby on the indie scene, but I would like to see her in a longer match to prove to the NXT universe what she can provide. And the feud between her and Nikki Cross is a good secondary feud in the women's division. They need to build a lot of these women up. We have the continuation of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce doing whatever they're doing, tormenting some of the other women. You still have Asuka, Ember Moon, and now this one just to hold them over. I'm not going to complain about that. The more women, especially in NXT, they put on some really good matches. Speaking of Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, they were walking around the Performance Center when they ran into Liv Morgan and Aaliyah. They were going back and forth when Liv pushed Kay into one of those therapy whirlpools. Instead of helping her, Peyton kept recording and was laughing at her a little bit. It was time for the last match, but not the main event of the show. Oney Lorcan versus the returning Drew McIntyre. McIntyre's song was pretty cool. It started out with some low-playing bagpipes and then kicked off into this Irish rock song. His video was similar to his Chosen One gimmick. I love that theme song. He got a loud welcome back chant, and I don't remember McIntyre being as big as he was. He was tall, muscular. Obviously, you can't grow at this point in his life, but he obviously gained some muscle. But still, I don't remember him being that tall when he was in WWE the first time. After taking some hits, Lorcan charged at McIntyre and landed 2 uppercuts and a dive to the outside. He then went to the top, and he dove, but Drew caught him and landed a tilt-a-whirl slam onto the apron. After the break, Lorcan got a near fall after the running blockbuster. Drew was in the Tree of Woe, and Lorcan was on the top rope, but Drew sat up, grabbed Lorcan by the head, and then flipped him over. Lorcan came back, slapped the shit out of Drew McIntyre, bunch of chops across the chest and the face. McIntyre hit a reverse Alabama slam off the ropes, and then won with a running single leg dropkick. After the match, Drew was interviewed. He said that this is where he needs to be. He referenced that he could have went to Raw and SmackDown, but he wants to be here in NXT. Damn, what a brutal match. They went back and forth. We know how hard Lorcan can hit. We've seen his matches with Andrade Cien Almas, and Drew gave it right back to him. Obviously, McIntyre was going to win, but Lorcan held his own, landed some big moves, and he made Drew look like a bigger star than he already is in NXT. With Hideo Itami returning from injury, Cassius Ohno, and now Drew McIntyre, Bobby Roode's got some challengers lined up for him. So we should see some interesting feuds in the next year for the NXT title. Now for the true main event. Shinsuke Nakamura made his entrance. He said that 1 year ago he came to NXT. He already had experience and was a champion in Japan. He challenged himself to compete with the best in the world, and he called NXT his home. He said NXT created something new, something different, and he called the NXT universe crazy, which is pretty accurate. He said he will always be NXT because, and then he chanted with the crowd, "We are NXT." As he was posing and taunting, the NXT locker room came out on the top of the stage, clapping for him. Gargano was pretty noticeable. He was obviously rocking out to Nakamura's theme song. Nakamura bowed, he left the ring, walked up the ramp, he shook William Regal's hand, and he posed for the audience for a little bit. From the group, Finn Balor appeared and hugged Nakamura as the show closed. Having Finn Balor there was pretty nice, considering their time spent in Japan. It was a nice way to end the episode, and Nakamura pretty much did what he needed to do in his 1 year of NXT. He wasn't one of those guys that needed to be there for a long amount of time. For some reason, Sami Zayn was there for 3 years. Kevin Owens, we saw how short he was there. I think it was 6 months. So Nakamura came in, won the championship, had some great feuds, especially his one with Samoa Joe, and then boom, main roster. They have enough guys to take over for him. And like I said, with Ohno and McIntyre back, the main event scene will be fine. I'm going to enjoy watching him on SmackDown. It looks like his first feud is going to be with Dolph Ziggler, which I'm looking forward to. You got Cena on SmackDown, and AJ Styles is also there. So maybe we can get Nakamura AJ at WrestleMania next year. Overall, it was a good episode. Aleister Black continues to impress in his short time. DIY obviously still over. Ruby Riot's a nice addition to the women's division. McIntyre and Lorcan put on a hell of a fight. And we got Tye Dillinger and Eric Young in a cage match next week. Alright guys, follow me on Twitter at bpiv_sports. And like, comment, subscribe to the show on YouTube. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next week with episode 110. Peace.